I'm still being gangstalked and terrorized and tortured. Right now they're pounding my back very hard. It feels like someone's like punching my back. Um, and they just did it under my right shoulder blade more strongly now, and they're making comments on that. I'm not mentally ill. Not that it should matter if I am. Mentally ill shouldn't suffer from this. I know for a fact that they're fucking with people that are mentally ill because the guy that was next door to me at Studio 6 over 2 years ago, who is the happiest guy, most approachable guy that I saw on cigarette breaks, was at the mental health facility after the people at Studio 6 were fucking with him the night or two before, and he had already checked out, I believe, and he was there looking scared as a motherfucker when a Travis County Sheriff or Austin PD, I call him Asian Cowboy, he's one of two Asian cowboys, he's the older Asian cowboy, when he took me there, and I was like, are they fucking with you too? And he would not talk to me, and he looked scared as a motherfucker. He looked very perturbed, and I was like, fuck this shit, and I walked right out. I was like, no, this is something bigger. And the guy said he would make a log of it in the report. I don't even know how to get a log of that report. I guess I'll see if Tom, if he ever gives back the CD that he's held on to for almost a year, that proves my innocence, or further proves my innocence. This is the last day, hopefully, that I'll be in Austin, unless I have to get my shit out of storage myself, wherever I move to after Bastrop, or after this fucking place. But we'll see if I get it today. I'll probably have another excuse to put it off once again, even though he's told me he's put it in my mail. Just like he said, he ordered the stuff from Amazon and got $50 from my dad. Not that I think that he's using that $50, but I'm like, you said you ordered it. You literally said you ordered it, and then later, like over a week or two, a week, or is it 2 weeks later, he said, oh, I didn't order it. I thought I wasn't supposed to. Anyway, it's real nice. Like, I know he's a nice guy, and he helped me with a place to stay, but I helped him too, and this stuff affects him too, because I don't believe he has fibromyalgia. I believe he was being fucked with too. He had very similar aspects to his story when he went through a crazy period where he threw his phone into a pool, just like one time I threw my phone into traffic. And there are similarities, and fibromyalgia contains symptoms that are a subset of the symptoms that I've suffered from. So I don't have fibromyalgia and schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder, now known as dissociative identity disorder, which most psychiatrists don't even believe is a real thing, and suffer all these other things, plus have paranormal or supernatural abilities to foretell the future, and supernatural abilities to have sight beyond sight, and also suffer from poltergeist, with things getting knocked over. I don't believe in that shit. And you have to ignore all the witnesses and victims that I've listed, that some of whom went on official record with Travis County Sheriff's Department with a sergeant in writing and in person with independent supporting statements that they did not follow up on for some reason. I have no idea why they didn't follow up on them. Every law enforcement officer should be aware of crowd and riot control devices and devices that are used to spy on people in situations when there's like a gunman or there's a hostage situation, other types of crisis scenarios. And those things can be used on people through walls. They can spy on you through walls. That is not, I have never been someone that subscribed to conspiracy theories. And you never see posts in my live journal or on Facebook talking about conspiracy theories until this bullshit. And but they've had the ability to spy on you through walls for over a decade. They've had the ability to shock you from afar for over a decade. They've had the ability to communicate to people without using any receiving equipment on the person that you're communicating with via microwaves or via long-range acoustic devices for years. For voice to skull, which is the one that uses microwave and takes advantage of the microwave auditory effect, you can look that up. That has been around for over 60 years, over 50 years of which we've been able to communicate voice through it. And that's what magicians and mentalists use when they pretend to pick numbers from your brain to use as a trick, like they did with Tyra on when they're asking her to punch numbers into her calculator, unless they use the invisible pointer thing when they can, get your, but I believe they used voice to skull on her in America's Got Talent, and I wish they would come forward with that. So we're at almost 5 minutes now. So I'm still suffering, and now they're hitting my head, and I can put my hand up and I feel a warmth that wasn't there. I don't feel it here, I feel it here, and an electricity on my hand. That is not mentally ill. Christopher Gaines from the Austin Police Crisis Team. I am not mentally ill. You basically threatened to POED me, protective order emergency detention. You didn't, but you kept repeating the fact that you could if you wanted to. So that's why I'm not talking to you. And again, I don't need mental health resources. I need you guys to investigate this. The investigators say that there's not enough evidence. That's fucking bullshit. Why does the Grove get an officer at my front door when they say that I stole an axe from the shed, from the maintenance garage, which I did not? It was my axe. Why did they get an officer to my door the next day? And I filed a police report basically the same day but later, and I didn't even get a call back about the stolen axe, about the kidnapping of my dog, about the filing a false police report, and about technically they also vandalized because they broke some pottery, but not that I really give a shit about that. But technically it's vandalism too. So Gavin and the maintenance guy at the Grove, they're criminals, and I didn't even get a call back. And it all, you're like, we don't have enough to investigate it. Talk to the suspects that I claim perpetrated the crime. It's their word against mine. I wouldn't have kidnapped my dog out of my own apartment. I have no reason to steal an axe out of a maintenance garage. That is ludicrous. I don't steal. I'm never going to make a joke about something recently, but that doesn't matter. But they're still trying to fill words into my mouth right now, which they can do with this stuff. It's very interesting. If you look at those videos where they speak through me, I'm not making that up. I mean, do you think I'm crazy and suffering multiple personality disorder? Perhaps you do, but then again, that doesn't happen. And you don't get schizophrenia at age 41, and you don't get, and you would have to ignore all the witnesses and suspects that I have. And 2 of the suspects confessed from a doctor's office. They confessed to assaulting me. They would also confess with releasing personal health care information on me, which is a HIPAA violation and subject to both criminal and civil penalties. And yet they're not. I contacted them the day I found out, which was several months later after they did it, which I was very upset with Dr. Lambeth for telling me so much later and for not doing anything about it. And they still work there. I called APD repeatedly that very day, and I was like, I'm sure you don't want to put the victim, I'm sure we both would align to the fact that you don't want the victim to resort to self-help, as you guys are the more appropriate people to deal with that. Apparently not. They don't have enough evidence. When the suspects confessed another crime, which I have the case number of, and that's also listed in the Gangstalking document, they don't have enough evidence. When they confessed to assaulting me, minimally, and it's like somebody put them up to that. And then other ones which I would have proof of if Tom would give me that fucking CD that I've been asking for almost a year, and then another crime, and then the first time I reported this Gangstalking, the first suspect that I listed had an ankle monitor on. I had proof that he was in receipt of my stolen phone, or that it was in his room or right around outside, and I had proof that his email address, or a spoofed email address, that was linked to 4 social profiles of his through Google Plus and Facebook, was put in as my recovery email address for my Google account. So I basically had proof that he had my stolen phone, and he hacked my Google account. Oh, we don't have enough evidence to do that. I have proof right there. He had an ankle monitor on. You could have gotten him very easily. So APD has the dumbest, stupidest, most idiotic detectives, and most lazy, and the laziest detectives I have ever known. Not that I've had experience with other detectives, but I have not gotten one call back on any of my cases except when they throw it to the crisis team because they think I'm crazy. Crazy people deserve justice too, as do the people using drugs. I'm not crazy. I was using drugs sometimes, but they were never during these incidents. I don't go on meth rages. Pot has never caused me to be paranoid. Not that I've used that in a while. I can't remember the last time I did that. Or alcohol. I can't remember the last time I had a drink. I've been nothing but hornier, happier, more huggy, more lovey, more hungry. I've never had a bad reaction to anything. And I wasn't on anything when these incidents happened. Although they like to have caused these incidents when I had done something within a few days of something happening, so they would show up in a piss test. And the hospitals don't do levels of piss tests, so they always try to get you that way too, which is another thing that could negate my Social Security disability for this bullshit. So they definitely are experts at ruining people's lives and setting that up.